Okay.
It's connected. Wait, not playing. Oh, there it is. Okay.
There we go.
There we go. Happy Wednesday, Tanya.
Oh, Wednesday. This is our 18th show.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you this week, Vivi?
It's been a good week. Yeah,
It has?
it's been good. It's still working on mindset and getting all the good things that fill my cup with my girls
Mm-hmm.
and working on projects and staying busy and trying to balance it all out as much as we can.
Good, good. Well, I've had an interesting use of muscadine this week, um, and that is I have a half finished implant, tooth, right? And all of a sudden, I got a horrible, horrible like headache, and then I never get a fever. Bang! It was like 100 and exhausted, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like how can anything hit this suddenly? Well, it turns out I had an infection, in the actual unfinished tooth area. And it was late at night and didn't know what to do. So I remember Mike talking about muscadine, and I did some research on muscadine as an antitopic antibiotic, and I used it. And I set my timer to get up about every 4 hours, really. And did it topically. I took 3 to 4 tablets every 3 to 4 hours. I didn't think I was going to be able to get the kids to school or anything. And when I woke up this morning, the fever was gone. And
Oh,
it's on this
great.
side of my face. It's still a little bit swollen. But yesterday I couldn't even take any Zoom calls because it was so bad. So I called the dentist. I said the swelling is down. He said he'd call in antibiotics. I didn't go get them yet, but even the pain is relatively minor, and I'm excited because I've never used muscadine and grapeseed as an antibiotic. I know that it works wonderfully topically.
Mhm.
This was fun. This was good. Okay,
Yeah.
so we
Jot
are
down
going to be. Oh, I'm a little bit. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Everyone's coming on.
Welcome, everyone.
Shouting. I wonder. Now I'm trying to get. Oh yeah, here she comes. Our guest is arriving, and it's a very exciting program tonight.
Very exciting.
We are now going to be, over the next couple of weeks, able to introduce our national speakers for our conference, January 13th through the 15th. And tonight, one of our speakers is also a keynote at that event. Her name is Tammy Star Workman Lopez. She's like you, Vivi, with all those wonderful last names. And she had some sound issues, but she went off and she's coming right back on, she said. Sorry, guys. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the part of the curriculum of our annual meeting that she is a part of.
Awesome.
Do you want to do me a favor, Vivi, while I'm talking about that and reaching out to Tammy and see where she is? Because she said 5 minutes ago that she was back on and I don't see her.
Yeah, she's not popping up
But she
here.
was on already, you said, right? When I was getting ready to come on. So I know she can do this. Where is she? I have been waiting in the room, but no one's here. Okay. We're going to just tell her, try logging on again. We guess we can. Sorry, guys that are watching. This hasn't happened in a long time. Try log on again, please. She said she's in a waiting room. This is not a Zoom. Can you resend her the link?
Yeah, let me see. Did you see?
No, here, I will do that. Hold on just a second.
Well, I hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. I know it's coming down to the end of the year and we're getting anxious probably about all that it's coming as we wrap up 2021. So we're really happy that you're here with us, and we're going to talk about mindset, and we're going to talk about all the new opportunities that you can be a part of. And it looks like she's coming on now. There she is. So stay tuned because today we are, Tanya, now we can't hear you.
Okay, sorry
Yeah.
guys. We
All
have
good.
our guest speaker, and I'm here, but I do want to set the context for when
Absolutely.
Tammy will be one of our keynotes. As many of you know, and many of you I'm seeing who's coming on. Hello, Philippines. Good morning to you. We will be having a full morning dedicated to the power of functional nutrition, dedicated to the power of how antioxidants work in our life, not just to transform our body and to heal our body and prevent disease and give us
Mhm.
more energy. And actually, like I was saying in the beginning of the show, actually work as an antibiotic, an all natural antibiotic as well. But
Mhm.
it also helps our mindset. You know, IQMK, the third letter, M is for mindset, meaning nothing works in life, not our health, not success, not our relationships, unless we craft the mindset that's a winning mindset, that's a positive mindset. And so it really, that morning we're going to talk about how food and things that we don't necessarily associate with being in a good balanced mood, how that also affects who we are and how we succeed in life. Tammy, as I'm going to introduce her, I've known for quite a while, and she used to live in South Florida and now is in Central Florida. And professionally, she's known as a mindset coach, which is a very interesting and unusual name. She has lots of professional accolades. She comes from a clinical background in many ways. She's a licensed, certified massage therapist, helping people find balance and healing through the power of touch, through the power of physical therapy. And her career has evolved, and she has become one of the most influential positive mindset coaches and media personalities that I know on Facebook and on Instagram. And she will be with us live January the 14th in Orlando. So let's welcome, da 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 da. There she is. Hi, Coach.
Hi, Tammy.
Hello. Thank you
Welcome.
for having me.
We're
Ah,
excited to have you today, and we can't wait to explore everything that you have to share with us.
Well, I'm
excellent.
really glad to be here, and this is information that I love to get out to people. So, you know, ask away whatever it is, and I can give you the information because it's definitely something that really needs to get out there for people.
Absolutely.
Tammy, I want to start because you know you made a transition from massage therapy, which is a
Mhm.
very truly transformational type of therapy, right? It's
Hmm.
actually helping people release endorphins through the mechanics of the body that help relax, help heal disease, prevent disease. I mean, it's a wonderful therapy. How did all, you know, one day I knew Tammy as this amazing, busy, super therapist. And the next day I see this, you know, power of positivity and this entire new business built around mindset. Can you tell me what it is that kind of drove you to this pivot?
Sure. Actually, it was something that I've always been involved in. I've always been involved in personal development and shifting and changing and growing. I grew up in a very negative household. Um, a lot of negative abuse talk, a lot of negative abuse, literally. And so it was something that I knew I didn't want. And I knew I wanted something different. But what I find with a lot of people is we know what we don't want. And so we go to some extreme. And I didn't want to be, somebody who let people walk all over me, but that's who I had become.
Mm.
And not so much that people were walking all over me, but I couldn't say no. And I felt very much like no matter what I did, it was not good enough. And even though people see my success, I didn't feel that inside. And so I continued to want to change and grow and shift out of what I had tried to change from and became almost the opposite. And so I realized I needed to grow my confidence. I needed to grow that was inside of me. I needed to stop, which I didn't know how, stop all the negative pain. But I didn't realize I was creating it. I thought it was real. I thought it was just something that I had to live with, and maybe God forgot about me, or, maybe He was telling me and I just wasn't listening hard enough, work harder, 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 figure it out. So I've always loved massage ever since I was a kid. But working with helping someone feel better internally keeps them from getting stressed out and carrying that pain in their body in the first place. So, working it together is actually something I want to do, where
Mm.
I'm working with a massage therapist and doing the session of relaxing their mind from the inside. So, that's something I was doing myself, but I wasn't able to continue to do the massage physically. So, I teach it now and I teach others and I show self massage and self stretching. Um, but my main focus is being able to help people change their thinking. You can feel like you got the best massage to the deepest levels of places that a massage therapist can't reach if you can change the pain and stress from your mind, which changes it from
Wow.
your body.
Excuse me, just a technical issue. Are you on Facebook as well, Tammy? Because we're getting
Nope,
some
I'm
feedback.
closed out of everything. I'm
Do
just
you
on.
see it? Do you hear any of the feedback?
No, we can't hear it. Do we're good?
Okay, that's odd because I have nothing going on here, but I hear like a man's voice in the background. Uh-oh. I don't know. There's some negative feedback cycle in my
That's
head.
funny.
All right.
Well, when you were talking before, I heard a little bit of like a little reverberation of your voice. So
Mhm.
you might be hearing the same thing. But no, this is the only thing I'm on.
Okay, okay, very good. All right, well, let's get right down into some of the brass tacks. Before this, I'm going to jump off the screen. So Tammy's larger, but one of the things, Vivi, that we sent you was a diagram of some of the things. There's a one that has her photo in it, but that's more of a promotion, and we'll talk about how people can access her. But there's one that talks about all the different components of what this approach to therapy is. And while you're getting that, Tammy, can you talk a little bit about how would you describe in an elevator speech
Hmm.
what it is that you do for people who are seeking to transform their mindset from always finding the negative about themselves and the way the world is treating them, the pains that they're feeling, the whether it's grief or trauma or sorrow, that they believe are real. And you said something wonderful before, that it really took you a while to understand that you were creating all the problems, that the problems weren't real. So can you talk a little bit about that path? And then I know you sent us a really very cool diagram about all the different areas that we need to pay attention to and that you pay attention to in your approach, that we can be mindful of.
Sure. So I do want to bring a little bit of clarity. So for what a person is experiencing, that is real. It's just oftentimes the thoughts and the beliefs about it that we add to it can make so much more pain than what really is there or what it really needs to be. So, for example, you mentioned grief. If someone is going through grief, that's normal and natural. But if they're focusing on the loss and they're focusing on the pain and they're focusing on how alone they are and they're focusing on they're never going to have that again and they'll never hear their voice, and all of those thoughts are making them feel even more pain and even more intensity of that person not being there. But instead, if we can focus on how much love there was, how much relationship there was, how much came out of that relationship. Um, you know, what is it they believe now? Where are they? How are they feeling? What are they experiencing? Is their pain gone? Can they still speak with them? Kind of really creating a new future into it versus using the past and particular thoughts to hurt themselves. And so those kinds of things, it's about cleaning up what might be going on and replacing it with something that's going to help them really enjoy that experience or really change that experience. And so, does that make sense before I use a different example? Oh, I can't hear you,
Maybe
darling.
I'm off screen, so I'm
Oh,
relying on you for the dialogue. But yes, that makes perfect sense. And I'm sitting here thinking about the language you just used, and I want to just put a pin in it. Cleaning up and replacing the negative in order to bring that power and energy of the positive in your life, right?
100%. Yes.
And that is such a cool idea because, I know, Tammy, you are looking at what we do as a company, right? Which is super antioxidant supplementation, right? It's super antioxidant supplementation. And I'm going to drill you on antioxidants later. But really, when I look at the science behind antioxidants, what we really are looking at is the antioxidant ability to clean up and balance our system, to fight the free radicals that cause the breakdown of cells, that cause actual chemical toxicity in our body. And we replace it with health. We replace it with better blood flow. We replace it with, just better phytochemicals that contribute to positive living. So what I think you're saying that you do from a behavioral perspective is really in many ways what can biologically happen with healthy diet. So, okay, well, let's take a look at this. And can you please explain what we're looking at, my dear?
Hold on one second.
Okay, because I was going to say, I don't see what you're looking at yet. Oh, okay. So you're looking at the flyer. So basically, this is just an overview of the things that I'm able to work on with people. And ultimately, it's anything that's going on in their mind where they feel like they're limited or they feel like they have a challenge. A lot of things work on kind of talking about the past and rehashing things and kind of, looking at it and feeling better about it, which is great. But the biggest thing that I'm focused on is how do you make change into your future? How do you step into those goals? And taking a look at, okay, so what is that limiting belief that has you? Where did that limiting belief come up from? So maybe, oh, yeah, I realized that I have this issue because this is what I believed. So it's being able to take a look at the beliefs. Now, sometimes we take a look at what got you there. So it might be like, so for example, for me, my mother was a very negative person and a rather unhealthy person in the ways that she ate and drank. And I didn't know it. Because she was healthy and she looked good, but she was like a skinny, unhealthy person. I didn't know that. And so I took all that on. I ate the same way, drank the same way. I didn't drink water ever. So I was always dehydrated. I was always going through stomach issues, and I didn't realize it was because I was eating greasy foods and things like that. So just to use the example of the weight control there, if we have these beliefs or practices and we don't realize we're doing it, then we're just practicing a habit that could easily be changed. But because we have a limiting belief that is a subconscious, it can't be easily changed on our own because we're not even aware we're doing it. We're not even aware we're saying it. And other people are also in their subconscious beliefs and their stuff. So they're busy thinking their thoughts. They're not going to catch what you're saying and doing usually. Or if they do, you're like, I don't want to hear it. Stop trying to change me. So it has to come from the person. And so when I do the work, I'm working with them. It's coming from them. I'm asking them questions about how they think and how they feel and what they want. So it's not about me trying to change them. It's about me helping them to get to the goals they want, helping them to see new perspectives to be able to make that change. And it shows up in, if you're taking better care of your thinking, you're taking better care of your planning. You're taking better care of your actions, which then has you taking better care of your body, getting better sleep, getting the vitamins and nutrition that you need, has you making sure you're setting boundaries for yourself, learning how to say no, learning when to say yes, all of these different things. And then it shows up in your finances, it shows up in your relationships. And there's also basic things that I teach as well. So we think everything's common sense. There is no common sense. It's important to realize we all grew up in different homes with different backgrounds, with different cultures, with different parents, with different limitations that they had that were passed on to us. And we might have various cultures and various limitations. And it's not that there's anything wrong with you. Think about it like you got an incorrect programming, and the programming now you're beginning to feel the glitch of it, and you want to change it and create it and replace a different program into it. So you don't feel loss. You're not losing weight. You're not losing the people in your life. You're learning how to set your boundaries so you can stand up in a different way with your body, with the people in your life, with your relationships, with your business. So it's not this experience of loss. It's a total experience of shifting, like taking a shower. You don't feel bad that the dirt's washed off. You feel good that you're clean. So it changes everything in that way. And that's what this flyer is sharing with you, just some various ways that we're able to do that.
Oh, here, let me jump back in here. You can take that down off the screen if you don't mind, Vivi, so we're all back up. Listen, I've had a couple of people text me complaining about the voice in the background. We've never had it before.
No.
Vivi, is there something going on different in your environment?
Is there a bird? It sounds like a bird.
No, that's a bird, but this is a man's voice. It's actually a continuing.
Oh, I can't hear that at all. I just hear a little feedback from when we talk. That's it.
No, this is about the fifth person now that says, can you hear it? It's an actual complete conversation. It's very odd. I don't know, maybe if it's some kind of, some kind of radio interference. But anyhow, let's get through the negative and stay energized with the positive. All right, so let's talk a little bit about diet. I love that analogy. There's a lot of people who are working very, very hard on losing weight. Losing weight, but they still have all the same problems in their life. Oh,
Right.
Go ahead, talk a little bit about that.
Okay. The biggest thing that when I'm working with my clients who want to lose weight, and I do too, right? I like I said, I came from a place of learning on healthy habits. And so I had to change my habits. And there's still times when things come up. If I don't get enough sleep, chocolate calls me. And there's some times where I might find, I'm not feeling so well. What's going on? Oh, you know what? I've had too many processed foods, too many salty foods, or too much of a particular something that my body's not responding well. Like it might be too much broccoli, or it might be, there's things that we would normally think are healthy that may not be. For our body, for my body, but it could be fine for everyone else's. So it's important to take a look at what your body's telling you. So physically looking at the body, you're also taking a look at what the mind is telling you. What are you telling yourself about your body? What conversation do you have about fat? If we took a look at our body like we look at our car, do you go out and yell at your car because it's the color that it is? Do you get ticked off that the tires aren't the right kind of tires? What about the gas? Do you get totally ticked off when it needs gas? You might, because you might not want to get gas at the moment. But you don't make it this thing, this rant, it's wrong, it's bad. But that's what we do to our bodies. Your body is a living, breathing organism without you. Right? So if you removed your essence, we now know that science could keep our bodies alive, right? So you can allow yourself to realize you're damaging a living being if you're saying anything unkind to your body. You're actually harming it. You're harming the cells. You're harming how it feels. It's as though you were speaking to somebody else going, oh, you look terrible. What's wrong with you? Look at your face. Look at your body. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm so embarrassed by you. But we say that about our body. Now, we might not say it out loud. Some people do. Most of the time, it's something we say inside. It's important to realize that is literal self-abuse to our body. Now, it's not to blame yourself. It's to become aware of, oh my gosh, I am doing that. And getting into a new practice of appreciating your body in a brand new way. Now, I'm not saying, oh, I look really great and I'm super heavy and it's hurting my body and I love it. You don't want to lie. You don't want to lie to yourself. But you can help your body feel loved. Like, I love you that you're taking care of me. You're breathing for me. Your heart is beating for me. Your digestion is working for me. The clearing process is happening. Your skin is holding your bones together and your intestines are not falling out on the floor.
Yeah.
So these are good ways that you can support your body and be able to say, oh, okay, I can really take care of it. I can really love it. And anything else is harmful. When we begin to practice that kind of self-love and self-care, losing weight begins to happen because you're loving on it. If you allow yourself to think about your body like a caregiver, if you are taking care of a child or taking care of an elderly or taking care of a pet or a plant, You make sure you're doing what you need, that it stays well, right? You make sure they get stretched. You make sure they get watered. You make sure they get exercised. You make sure they play. You make sure they have time to decompress. You make sure they go to bed on time. You make sure you plan their food. When are you doing that for you? Your body can't do anything without you. It can't walk itself. It can't wipe itself. It can't go to bed. It can't eat without you. Your body needs the same care that you would give your children. But we often say, oh, well, they're growing. They need these things. We don't stop growing.
Right. Yeah.
We have so much stress going on in life. We are stressing more than a child would, but yet we give more care to a child because they're little and defenseless. Your body is defenseless without you.
Yeah, one of the most amazing things that I actually had a counselor in a endocrinologist's office. You may not know this, but I had really very, very robust type 2 diabetes. Even as little as a year ago, my A1C was 12.8. And diet and even insulin, things weren't affecting my dying pancreas.
Yeah.
And I had a counselor say to me, which I thought was just absolutely brilliant, something very similar to what you're saying, in that, Tanya, can you please treat yourself as well as you treat your 5-year-old granddaughter?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is so very, very important to do. So very important.
I love that, Tammy, because I'm sitting here thinking about, I have a 13-month-old, and thinking about, giving grace and love and compassion to my body, right? And then just also being on a wellness path, and also thinking about how a growth mindset and a healthy mindset helps me kind of set that path, right to action, to doing that. And I think most women have this very internal negative dialogue about their own body. And it's so true, what you're saying when it comes to, how do we love on, on our body? How do we, just really take care of it? And having this, very internal compassion and grace for my body, for giving birth, for, sustaining life, for growing that extra organ.
Creating a miracle, right?
Absolutely. And then also, now on this path of, well, here we are, and what can we do to really set the tone for everyone around me, including my children, to have this, very compassionate way of looking at our health and our bodies, and what can we do about it? And
That's a good question.
in asking you, because I know I love everything that has to do with, professional development in the realm of mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
I lost the word we're talking about. I lost the word we're talking about right now.
It's okay.
Mindfulness. We're talking about
mindfulness.
Oh, I thought you were thinking of a different word.
Mindset. There it is.
There you go.
Mindset. Mindset. Yeah.
And just really, looking at how that also impacts just all these different areas of our life, like you have, within the realm that you're in, right? So we also have to think about, I think, we are a woman, but we're a mom, we're a professional, we are a healer. I mean, we're so many different things, right? All in one.
Most importantly, and this is something that I do work with my clients, whatever their faith is, I tell them your faith is your journey, so it's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever they would call their wiser being, for me, it's God. They are a beautiful daughter. They are a beautiful creation, created to create. So Leanne actually made a point that I thought was pretty interesting. she was one of your commenters. I can't remember exactly what she said, but something like, do you look as bad as you feel, or do you feel as bad as you look, or something, like making a joke like that. And then she was saying, well, you look as bad as I feel, or something.
Yeah.
And so there are times when we say things that we're trying to be funny, or we say things that we've heard before, that's just a habit, or we say these different things to ourselves that we don't realize that we're doing. And
Right.
our children hear us,
Mm-hmm.
and they may not repeat it, but they're recording it.
Mm-hmm.
And not just the words you say out loud, but the words you're saying internally. There's a human being inside of you, and you are either berating them with those thoughts, or you're supporting them with supportive thoughts. And it's important that we practice these things out loud, not just for ourselves, but also for those around us. So instead of telling someone how they look, like, oh, don't worry, you look great. Tell me why I think you look great. And so it's coming from them. Well, I know you said you like my shirt. I know you said that you like my smile. I know you said that you don't think I'm heavy at all. So you tell them first, and then repeat back to me why you think I like you, or why you think I don't think this about you. Or so it's coming from them. A lot of times parents with children will say, honey, don't think that about yourself. I love you. You're smart. You're brave. But we don't turn it around and say, tell me why I love you. Tell me what I think about you. Tell me all the things I love about you. Oh, you think I'm brave. You think I'm smart. You think I'm kind. You think I'm compassionate. Really get their mind going. And sometimes if they're very shut down, they'll say, I don't know. Because they are not allowing themselves to accept that as true.
Yeah.
And so here's an activity that you can do and you can share with your listeners. Just on one side, take a piece of paper, fold it in half. On the left-hand side, right? All the boxes to the left, to the left. On the left-hand side is going to be the negative, because we're going to be shifting out of that. Anything that you say about yourself that has you feel bad, whether you believe it to be true, is a negative thought. And most people don't think that. They're like, well, how is it a negative thought? It's true. If it has you feel a negative emotion about yourself or the situation, it's a negative thought. And that begins to get it out of your head so you can become really aware of what you're doing. And it starts to pull it out of the subconscious realm into the conscious. And then on the other side, the positive side, it's not about, we tend to try to say, oh, well, let's be optimistic. Put out the positive out there. Well, you guys have pets. What if you took newspaper and you put it over the old stuff? Brand new newspaper, it smells really good, but you put it over the old stuff. It's going to start to smell really bad. You're going to have a bigger mess, and it's going to start affecting everything. This happens with our mind, our body, and our spirit. We think, oh, well, I put that away. Yeah, no, you covered it up with newspaper, and it's stinking.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I just, it's funny. I'm listening, you've gotten smarter through the years, Tammy. I love listening.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. I do like also when I look at your Facebook. Now, how can people find you? Let's go ahead and plug you real quick. Where do people find you? Where do people find your page?
I just want to acknowledge Leanne. She says, we cannot accept positive that others say if we cannot believe it in ourselves. 100%. We will actually think they're only being nice or, blowing smoke, because the reflector glasses we see is something totally different, because we have a belief under subconsciously. So yeah, 100%. So for me, you can find me on my Facebook page. It's Sparks Hope LLC. So facebook.com/Sparks Hope LLC. And I think I can put it in the chat.
Yeah, why don't you do that? I'm trying to do that, but you can go ahead and do that. I do want to. I don't want to sound negative, right? Because it's all about positive, and I'm rarely negative. Well, today is quite a challenge.
No, good. It's important that we speak the negative so we can clean up stuff if we need to.
So let me tell you. So, as I'm sitting here thinking about all the positive, I've had, I have a 6-year-old with a chest cold and just not feeling well and whiny. And then I have a 10-year-old who is, certifiably, in therapy for defiance disorder. and which is, it's the positive thing. The flip side is he questions authority, starting at about 9 o'clock every night with me. But it is, but there's just a lot of that. And then there are other things that have happened over the past 48 hours or so, that are just a lot of people with a lot of issues and a lot. And I say to myself, when I listen, Tammy, to let's write down on the right, let's write down on the left, I say, I can't. I just can't. All I talk about is words. All I use is words. And one of the most beautiful things about some of what I have found about taking antioxidants is that my physical body doesn't get as overwhelmed as it used to.
Mm-hmm.
So while I'm like, oh, I just want to scream, a year ago, I probably would have gotten sick from the stress of just having a bad tooth. It would have turned into a bad head cold. I would have let it snowball. And I just think that nutrition, and you said this earlier, nutrition helps us think more positively, which allows us to think more positive thoughts about ourselves and others.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me is the root of health. And it makes me love myself more, even if I'm at the same weight or with the same flaws. When I have that feeling of health, I really feel much more prepared
Mm-hmm.
to be a more kind, compassionate person. So I know that you talk a lot about nutrition in your work and how important it is. I would love to understand your perspective on making sure that your body is fueled with enough of the right stuff in order to be right-minded.
Mm-hmm. Well, the idea of nutrition is it is our life. We are taking life into our body to sustain our life. And so if you think about it kind of like a wheel, right? The wheel of life, there's these different categories. Well, you need to take care of what you're eating. You need to take care of your sleep. If you don't get enough sleep and get the right nutrition, your mind cannot think properly, period. Your body cannot function properly. Your digestive system cannot function properly. You have, and some people are a little shy about this, but I'm not mostly. If your body's not digesting and not cleaning out, you've got poop in your body. You've got old food hanging out. Right. And so your body is kind of feeling lethargic and feeling heavy. It's not going to sleep as well. If you're staying up late and getting up early, trying to burn the candle at both ends, you're not going to get what you need. So what we can do at times is bring in that nutrition to help us. But here's something that you want to be really careful of, just like we were talking about, just like Tanya was saying. If you're not getting the right nutrition for your body, you could find that there's things going on. And so I actually do different weight loss programs when I'm working with my clients. And there's what's the best for your body. And for some people, they're like, I am not stopping my dairy. I've got to have a wine a night, right? And so, okay, so we start here and we work with it. We work on the subconscious stuff about why is that true? What are some other ways you can relax? What are some other ways and other things that you can do? So we have these beliefs that it's got to be this way. And then we can start to shift those beliefs and go, oh, yeah, okay, I can do it like this and I can try it like that. And if I'm just trying it for a week, let's just try it for a week and see how that works. See how your body's feeling differently. Sometimes it may look like taking something out. So that way you can see, is that what's bothering me? I had a client who had to take out broccoli. Broccoli is like so healthy, right? I just want to check. Mike says negative thoughts are thoughts that cause us to slip, lose hope, or stand in the way of improving our health. Totally. And if we have negative thoughts, we're not going to feel like planning for our food. We're not going to feel like taking care of ourselves. The negative thoughts can keep you from sleeping well. The negative thoughts could have you reacting incorrectly at work or with your spouse or with your kids. So it's so important to notice we got to put these things in alignment, and it may seem like a lot at the moment. But as you're learning and doing the work step by step, putting a plan into place about what you're doing for your nutrition, what you're doing for your inflammation, right? Your inflammation tells you what's going on in your body. It tells you, hey, what you ate today is affecting you, what's going on. So when we're eating, we have our results within, I believe it's like 24 hours. Like the blood test can tell you within 24 hours, but once you eat something new, now it's going to look different. So you're able to listen to your body, see what's going on. I'll give you an example. If I eat too much salty foods, for whatever reason, my tests say my sodium is just fine. My ankles don't. My ankles get swollen because I have had too much salt, but my blood test won't show it. And not sure why. So it's important to listen to both what your results are as well as what your body's telling you. And I just want to say, I love doctors. I have many friends who are doctors, but they don't know what your body's telling you unless you tell them. So you have to listen to everything. And there's certain things you might be doing everything right. You might even be on the if I say this right, the mucidine. You might be correct in taking that. You might be correct in your vitamins. You might be correct in your sleep. You might be correct in doing the work to release the mindset. But what if you're taking a medication that depletes you of vitamin D, or depletes you of vitamin C, or depletes you of magnesium? So it's important to notice everything you're putting into your body is a chemical, and your body is a bag of chemicals. And so it's like you're a scientist. You're balancing it out so it feels good. You're the scientist. And your team around you, your doctors, your supports, your nutritional folks, your like me, I'm a hypno coach or an anxiety relief coach, whichever term we're working on. That's your team, but you're the lead in that team because you know what's going on. So just know that. Trust yourself. If you are listening to what your body's telling you, you'll know what you need to be moving away from with what you're eating. Now, if you have trouble with that and you have blocks with that, that's where we get to take a look on the subconscious level going, why are we stuck there? Why does that keep coming up? What's happening there? How do we shift that? How do we change that? How do we make that a different space for you?
Tammy, if you, and I know we're going to hear more from you in January, and I know, and you did put it up there. Let me go ahead and put it on the main screen. This is my favorite thing. This freedom from negative thinking, it really has, I like it a lot. It's one place that I actually search to see the little wonderful videos you put up. They're very simple. They don't require a whole lot of deep thinking. They require a whole lot of just my heart relating to it. But if you were to say, and I know that you have a lot of clients, I know how busy you are, I know how you deal with every one of your clients as an interesting and unique science project. But if you were,
I don't deal with them like that, but I get what you mean.
Oh no, but I love it. I love that my body's a bag of chemicals.
Yeah.
And that
I
I have
help
to
them
balance
to
them.
treat it that way. I don't treat them that way.
Right. But what would you say are the top 3? You already said, okay, all right. What I heard you say, I'm going to reiterate this. I heard you say that quality food, sleep, and there was something else. I tried to
Well,
capture it.
the best way to think about it, because there's so many aspects, is the cliche mind, body, spirit. When we're taking care of our mind, we're also taking care of our emotions. When we're taking care of our mind and our emotions, we're automatically taking care of our body. When we're taking care of our mind, our emotions, we're also automatically taking care of our spirit. When we're taking care of our body, we're aligning our spirit and our body. So if you keep that in mind, it will help you to see that it's like this beautiful triangle that we were created, right? To take care of. We were given this body to nourish it and love it. We were given the mind to use it to help us drive the body. And we were given the emotions to help us understand what's needed. All emotions are good. I like to use this example. Where is my little battery? Oh, here it is. I like to use this example. We don't say that the positive is good on a battery and the negative is bad on a battery. We go, okay, both sides are needed. So when we have our positive emotions, we're like, yay, this is so great. But when we have our negative emotions, we're like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I need to avoid it at all costs. I can't sleep because I don't want to be alone with my thoughts, or I'm constantly alone with my thoughts, so it's miserable. I'm eating because I'm emotional, or I'm not eating because I'm emotional, or I'm eating because I'm bored, which is also emotional. So we think that this is bad, so we have this negative relationship to it. But what if you, as a human being, positive and negative are both positive? It's just your flow. You need the connection to both to flow. So, what if all of your negative emotions are there to guide you and each one is sharing something? So, what if you feel sad and sad is there to tell you you're feeling loss in your life and you need to add value?
Mm-hmm.
What if you're feeling angry and angry is just there to tell you that you think somebody's being unjust and unfair and it's time to set some boundaries? And it might be you that's being unjust and unfair.
Mm-hmm.
And so self boundaries might be needed. So if we allow that mind and emotional well being, the rest starts to fall into place.
That is really, I think that's very powerful. I found the digestion. It's funny because until I got involved with Mike and IQMK and Must Natural, I had not thought as much about the digestion aspect of life as I do now. But evidently, things like grapeseed, besides, providing fiber, also just kind of help all the muscles of the digestive system to just kind of keep it to keep it balanced.
Mhm.
And I personally have seen about 100 people experience different changes on the muscadine grape supplement. And one of the most common changes is digestive change. Either they say, oh my gosh, my diarrhea has stopped, excuse me for the frankness, or I'm no longer constipated for 3-4 days straight. And they'll say, I've never really talked about this before, but this has really messed up my life. And now I realize that to be regular and to be clear of everything every day helps my mindset,
Mhm.
right?
Literally,
I
it's toxins.
Yeah, I had never really thought about that. And when you think about stuff getting stuck in you, think about it as that metaphor. It's just things that rot away with you, the negative thoughts that get stuck in here about yourself, about your
Mhm.
body, about your family, about that just stuff rots unless you can find a way to healthfully clear that out so that those toxins don't make you sick, don't give you cancer. I one of the most amazing things that science is demonstrating over and over again, that cancer is really driven, or the manifestation of cancer cells and their spread is really driven by inflammation. And you mentioned it before, inflammation. But let me tell you that science is also demonstrating that there are two types of inflammation. There's inflammation that comes from emotions, we know that,
Mhm.
right? And there's inflammations that comes from our body's natural response to an invader or something it doesn't want. Both of those, like you used the battery, right, Tammy? Both
Mhm.
of those are fine. We want a certain degree of inflammation in our body, or we won't heal from things that cause wounds or trauma.
Right.
Inflammation sends the blood, sends the oxidation process to heal it. The trouble is when we just continue in the trauma, whether it's emotional trauma, that's the trouble. We just
Yeah.
don't stop and move.
And that's so painful. I mean, I thought when I was younger, I literally felt like I was in a prison. Literally. And I used to wish that I could just die. Like, that was a mantra when I was a little kid. I mean, I was 4 and 5 and 6 and 7.
Yeah.
So, it was I just didn't I was afraid that if I did anything, then I would end up in hell, right? That was so it's a good thought, bad thought. It kept me from doing anything to myself. But my mother had, she would have had 12 children, only 4 of us lived. And she kept having children, because they didn't believe in birth control, and my father didn't believe in self-control, so that was a hot mess. But I began to think that children don't come home, first of all, babies don't come home, and that God must have wanted them and not me.
Mm.
And I was the oldest of those children. I had a half sister, but I was the oldest to watch that happen. And I just kept thinking, well, I must be so bad that he doesn't want me. And so to have those thoughts, to know that there's people around us all over the place. I
Yeah.
talk about the uncomfortable. I talk about suicide thoughts. I talk about, abuse. I talk about fighting. I talk about negative emotions. I talk about, the fat on the body. I talk about the poop. I talk about, so that way people realize it's just part of being human.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
I wanted to put this up
Tammy,
there. I really thank you for your passionate honesty. I
oh,
think
you're
that
welcome. I was like, who wrote that? I don't see a name.
Tammy,
the-
I wanted to just take you back to when you said doing the work,
Mhm.
right? Because that's really sort of, the path that I'm in into really being present and experiencing and allowing, everything that comes, and realizing also a lot of different things. I happen to be part of the neurodivergent community, and not a lot of people know about that and know that about me. And
Mhm.
it's made me who I am, the mother that I am, the professional I am, the sister that I am, the friend that I am, just everything about me. And I have realized that doing the work is going to definitely impact the next generation of healing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
doing the work means taking action. And for me, in this wellness path, and just being involved with IQMK, with healthy eating, a better mindset, or a mindset that allows and that fits my family, myself, right? Because we're all different, but that takes us to the next steps in, overall wellness. It's so important. It's doing the work, and it's an individual thing,
Mhm.
right? It's an individual thing. And sometimes as parents, it's really hard to realize that if we don't do the work, what are the implications of
Mhm.
that, right?
And
Right.
it's important to realize, and people, they hear work, that word.
Mhm,
But they're doing the work of something else. They're doing
mhm.
the work of feeling unhappy. They're doing the work of having the
Absolutely.
same problems over and over again. They're doing the work of trying to bury that stuff
Mhm,
because they're afraid. They have these incorrect beliefs that doing this other work is
mhm.
weak, or doing this work is
Such a
too
good.
emotional. They're going to have a
Mhm,
breakdown. They can't handle. It's going to be, what is their family going to think about them? Like
mhm,
they have these thoughts that it's a negative again because they've never seen it. They've
Mhm.
right.
never experienced it in a lot of cases. They might be the first generation to actually
Mhm,
do this.
Mhm.
And so I just want to put out there, to add to what you're saying, it takes so much bravery to do
mhm,
the work that you're doing,
mhm.
and it's safe. It's actually
Absolutely.
safer work than trying to
Mhm,
shove it down, trying to not deal with it, trying to eat it away, or drink it away, or sex it away, or it's
mhm,
safer work than the other work, and actually becomes more ease-filled, and as I can see on your face, more joyous,
mhm. Yeah.
healthy, and happy, changing your life, changing your future. So that's what it looks like. It doesn't look like the negative, fearful stuff that may be
Mhm.
what's stopping somebody right now.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
beautiful. And I hate to, because we're going to have to wind down, and I certainly want
We
to.
could talk to you for 2 hours,
I
Tammy.
know, I
I
know.
could
And
talk for 2 hours. Like I said, I love sharing this.
I think what's really hitting me in a very special way is how absolutely related. We all, many of us that are on this call, and then there are some people that aren't. I recognize some people, I don't recognize others, but we're all in this company, right? And we're all building this worldwide community of, we call it hope and health, but it's very, very real. And I see people on here that I talk with almost daily, and for the first time in my professional career, when someone says, "How are you?" I can say, "Man, I feel pretty shitty." And it's okay, because this
Mhm.
family, this business that we're creating is about supporting each other on this path to wellness. And as hokey and as grand as it sounds, it's all about making the world a more positive, peaceful place for our children and others' children, whether they're children in Ghana or Jamaica or Philippines or Los Angeles or Mexico. They're our collective children, and we need to create a world where they don't hear all this negativity that causes them to want to blow up the world. And I know
Yeah.
that's a little bit political, but I do want
Or
to
living in hunger. Like
living in
there's
hunger.
no that based on things that I've read, there's no necessary reason why children are living in hunger.
None,
Absolutely.
except that we have these constructs. So let me talk for a minute about everyone that is listening to this. It is honest, it is raw, it is about cutting through all the negative crap in your body, whether it's through using great supplements like Must Natural, eating better, exercising more, or if it's cutting through all the negative crap in your brain and heart and dialogue about yourself. That's the work that needs to be done. And that's the work of IQMK Global. And it's the work that we're going to be doing collectively January 13th through 15th in person in a joyous, supportive way. I'm going to ask, and Tammy, thank you. I am so grateful to you. We'll be seeing you personally.
Thank you, Tammy.
You're
We're going to keep you
welcome.
on the screen, but we're going to put up a quick little schedule of what we're going to be doing January 13th through 15th. Tammy will be there along with about 4 other clinical presenters that will be talking about functional nutrition, practical models in emotional and behavioral health, and how to put it all together for yourself as well as for your customers or the people whose lives you brought into your own to all move into a better world. If you look at the screen, and I'm trying to see the writing, even with my glasses, Vivi, it's it's a challenge. But we are going for experiences, and it's a Thursday through Sunday. And we are going to go from Thursday to a reception and an amazing, and you'll love this person, Tammy. She is a lupus fighter. She is a woman who came from great trauma, from great self abuse. To becoming a goddess and a successful person in her own right, living in Ghana. Amazing woman. She'll be doing her testimony, her ideas about health. And then we'll have everything's about celebration, because without that positive celebration of all that we are, the health doesn't really, it doesn't catch fire. So we're also going to be providing not just models in better health and how to get there and how to work through all the damage in your life to really be the success for yourself and your family, but we'll also have business models, how to run and operate a successful wellness business where you walk the talk and you get compensated for that. We will be having an amazing gala. We will be celebrating our programs in Africa, our hugely successful first year in the Philippines, our brand new momentum in Mexico, and all of that to say we are planning a path to the life that you want and that we want for our world. Um, it will have swag bags and sponsors and music, but most importantly, we need you to register, because the sooner that you register, hi Mary, that's a childhood friend of mine. It is such a gives me, it's like that's a girlfriend that really helped me. It's emotional that you just came on. But we need you to register. And why? Because as soon as we know how many people are coming, we can plan for all the details of the events, all of the little extra bonuses, and ask for a little bit more support from our partners and sponsors. Very easy to register, www.iqmkevents.com. You do not have to have ever known what Must Natural is. All you want is a true desire to live a cleaner, healthier, more positive life in 2022 and influence others around you. If you put the code in at checkout, Orlando75, all of the events, all of the parties, meals, trainings will only be, what is it, $224 for 3 days. The rooms are right on International Drive in Orlando. You can safely and comfortably, they're huge rooms, put 4 in a room, they're $95 a night. Please come. Stay the weekend. You're right next to Disney, you're right next to Universal. We just want this to be magical and truly transformational. Tammy, thank you. I'm going to let Vivi walk us out. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
all. This was a very nicely attended podcast. Remember that if you missed some of it or you want somebody else to hear it, we are on all the streaming platforms, whether it's Amazon or Apple or Spotify. And then we have our own little YouTube channel that's really been growing, and that's just called Muscadine Global. So once again, from the bottom of my heart, sorry for the little technical aspects in the beginning and the little transistor radio that's in the background. But this has been an amazingly, for me, I went from a really negative space to a really empowered space.
Yay.
So Tammy, you are an amazing therapist. Vivi, walk us out. Thank you, everybody that's listening, and I'll see you all next week. Vivi?
Thank you, Tammy. This was amazing. And it's again a reminder, right, of just really we're on this path and we can do it. We have the power within to really transform our lives. And we hope that all of you that are listening are really tuning in to, yourself and be in that space where you can have that mindset that can potentially change your life and the life of your children and others around you. So we thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Where we're talking about prostates. Something very different, but we're going to be very positive in that approach to prostate.
And I love that this is really all around, like Tammy said, this is mind, body, and soul and spirit, and everything is interrelated. So let's take care of our health so we can take care of our soul and our spirit.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone.